All right, listen. I barely have enough self-control to stop playing Bandle Tale long enough to actually make this video about why I can't stop playing Bandle Tale, so let's just dive straight into it. Bandle Tale is Riot Games' farming sim game, very akin to Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing. It's set in a magical realm called Bandle City. You, the player, are playing as a character who just finished their 101-year apprenticeship to be a knitter. You've been doing nothing but knitting for all of those years, and you finally get the chance to go to a party with a friend, and so you probably shouldn't, but you do. Bandle City is made up of a bunch of different islands that are connected by magical portals, and this party's on a different island. You get there, you're asked to help start the party, and everything goes to crap when you try. All of the portals collapse, everything is sent into chaos, yorldes are sucked into portals, some of them are getting blown across the islands, like it's just complete pandemonium. Once the dust settles, you realize your best friend was one of the yorldes that got sucked into the portal, and you've got to find a way to get them back. So it's up to you to fix everything, and you get to learn a few things along the way. This game is literally the coziest game I think I've ever played. The entire cast of yorldes that are part of the story just make everything so much fun and light and enjoyable. And there's lots of great sarcasm and storytelling. And honestly, I just love the game.
You have bewitched me, body and soul, and I love you. I never wish to be parted from you from this day on.
Look, I've been a League of Legends player and a Valorant player for years now. Honestly, it was just really nice to have a game that I could just play after grinding ranked and tilting off the face of the earth. And I've loved it so much that since its release on the 21st, I think I've completed like 80 or 90% of the game. Because I've played so much of the game, I feel qualified, I guess, to talk about whether or not I feel as though this game was worth the purchase. I'll just come right out the gate and say, yeah, it most certainly was. But I want to talk about why and maybe what are some of the more serious drawbacks. I have one problem with this game that almost killed it for me. It was like this problem was so big, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. I want to talk about the good things first. I already gave you guys a little bit of an introduction to the story, but the first thing that I want to talk about is the story itself. The story is really, really well done. If you're a League of Legends or Runeterra lore nerd, this is our first ever look into Bandle City, the magical realm that yorldes come from, and honestly, it did not disappoint. Like I said at the beginning of the video, Bandle City is made up of 5 different islands that each have a crafting or creation theme. Bandle Center, Gadgeton, Greensprout Grove, Inspiration Isle, and Yarnville. You, the player, being the apprentice knitter, start on Yarnville, and I don't want to spoil the story for anyone who's still getting the game, but I want to talk about why the story is so good. With this game being a farming sim, the story gets to be fun and whimsical and gets to kind of laugh at itself a little bit, and genuinely the story is just really enjoyable. I rarely felt like I was purposeless running around. I always felt as though I was working towards something that meant something. I felt very purposeful, I guess. The characters are funny and witty, and you have a sidekick that's very sarcastic, but you guys learn to really get along. Another thing that I absolutely love about the story is that quests will encourage you to explore and learn more about the struggles that each of the yorldes are going through and how you can help them. I'm not sure if this next point is a story point or just the fact that the game is a farming sim, but being an MMO player, I didn't feel as though there was an arms race to finish the game before everybody else, that way I could rush to the end of the game. The journey itself felt like it was the entire game. There was no pressure. It's just relaxing. And honestly, I love that. I talked about that being one of the main reasons that I loved playing Classic WoW in my hardcore Classic WoW video. Not having pressure to rush to max level or max skill points or whatever, you know, not feeling the pressure to rush to the end of the game so that way I could actually begin playing the game felt so refreshing. The last point that I want to talk about with the story is the character development. I came into this expecting just funny, whimsical moments with the beloved characters that we know from Bandle City, but I felt a strange sense of real connection to my character. You start off lacking a lot of self-confidence, and I know that as gamers, a lot of us can relate to that. And as you progress through the story, your character becomes more and more confident and begins to believe in themselves more and more. And other people start to believe in them because they're working towards something. They're accomplishing something. They're bringing people, yorldes, together. And you're not the only one that grows as a yordle person. I don't know what to say. I mean, I got to have character developing moments with Vagar and Teemo and Tristana. The whole story just really felt human. I know it's about yordles, but the story just felt really relatable as somebody who used to also struggle with self-image and finding meaning in life. Overall, I just really loved the story, and it was the first element that I fell in love with when I started playing the game. The next few points will be about gameplay itself. Is the gameplay enjoyable? And the first thing that I wanted to talk about when it comes to gameplay is farming. Because the game is a farming sim, you can expect to, well, farm, collect resources, magical items, artifacts, experience. As you progress through the story, there's naturally occurring elements that can be collected for craft. I want to talk about crafting after I finish the farming segment because honestly, it's really great. For every new element that you discover in the world, you gain a lot of experience, but as you farm it more, you gain less and less experience, but you farm it faster and faster. That's a trait that I wish a lot of MMOs would include in their game, by the way. And another thing that I loved about farming was that none of the materials ever felt as though they were irrelevant. I didn't just farm one thing until I got to the next level and then I was done with that resource. Every resource that you can collect is needed throughout the entire game. Whoops, I just hit my mic. And the next element of gameplay that I really loved was the crafting system itself. The crafting system in this game is deeply complex and borders on overwhelming at times. If there's one critique that I could give this game when it comes to its crafting system is that there's no like recipe book that you can collect and add to. You just kind of have to memorize like what you need to craft everything. I just wish that I could have like in my adventure book or whatever, because there is one in the game. You have like an adventure book, but in my adventure book, I just want to be able to search recipes for different items or food or whatever that I need to make instead of running around to each of the different crafting tables, because there's a lot, and trying to remember which table makes what thing. But I feel as though that's kind of minor, and in a game that's not really supposed to be competitive, it's not the end of the world. Something that I did love about the crafting system, though, is that it's woven beautifully into the story. Sometimes you'll reach a roadblock where, hey, in order to complete this quest, I need to craft this thing, but I don't know how to make this thing yet. So I've got to go farm out some resources and experience in order to gain the knowledge to make this thing to continue the quest line. The concept of friction has been a hot topic in gaming for the last few years, and I feel as though this was an example of healthy friction. The next part of crafting that I absolutely loved was that eventually you become entirely self-sufficient. You have this backpack that you can put down and it transforms into your big house that you can upgrade. And in your house, you have a workshop and a crafting room and an actual like garden. Honestly, it's genius. I love it. And that backpack / house eventually lets you just be entirely self-sufficient. But it's a lot of hard work to get to that point, and it feels good to eventually get there. And the last element of gameplay that ties all of this together are the skill trees. The skill trees are divided into 4 different schools, I guess: knitting, engineering, nature, and magic. Each of them have quite a bit of overlap. What I mean by that is, in order to craft or learn something that you need in one tree, you have to progress this far in the other tree. As you play the game, you earn experience points that you can put into leveling up your skill trees and learning new recipes, or learning about different plants that you can farm or different minerals that you can collect. It's a great system because you earn experience by just playing the game and going for achievements. Spending points on the skill trees feels great because every time I learn something new that's kind of big, like a new crafting bench, I feel as though I have this massive breakthrough and I kind of snowball into learning a bunch of other talents and snowball into learning a bunch of other skills, and it feels really fun. Having big chunks of progression with a little bit of grind time to another big chunk of progression, honestly, it just feels really rewarding. However, tragically, it's time to get to the part of the video that I don't really want to talk about, and it's the downsides to this game. We already talked about one with the crafting system, and at the beginning of this video, I said that we would talk about one major flaw that this game has that almost made me not play it at all. And that feature is not a feature, but a lack of a feature, which is no multiplayer. There is just no way for you to be able to play this game other than alone. And if that's what you like, good, go for it. This game is made completely for you, and I respect that. But I have some friends that I would really love to play this game with. At the very least, I want to be able to connect worlds and show off my house and my progress and all of the things that I've accomplished. I mean, I actually finally convinced my wife to play a video game with me, and then I learned it's not multiplayer, and I'm just heartbroken. That's the feature that almost killed this game for me, and I really, really hope that Riot would be willing to make it multiplayer in the future. I have no clue if they have any plans to update or add to this game at any point in the future. I hope they do, fingers crossed, but I wouldn't bet on it. And that's my next con. Riot decided to fire everyone that made this game, and so there's little to no hope that this game is ever getting updated, and I'm really disappointed about that. It's just really unfortunate that they decided to fire everyone before this game was even released, because it's an absolute banger and it needs DLCs. Please, Riot, please give us DLCs. I've had this game since Wednesday and I'm almost done, and I absolutely love it. I will play this game for as much as I can get out of it. At the end of the day, one of the downsides to this is that I basically have no hope for any updates in the future, and I'm really devastated by that. My personal recommendation after going over this list of pros and cons is that the pros heavily outweigh the cons to this game, and half of the cons are not about the game itself. It's about the company that made the game. My recommendation is, yes, buy this game, try it out. Even if you're not typically a farming sim player, which I'm not, this game has been so much fun for me, and it's been an amazing opportunity to learn about a section of the League of Legends universe that we knew little about. Anyways, that's the end of the video, guys. Please go comment down below. Are you planning on playing this game? Have you already played this game and you want to add a feature that I missed or a con that I missed? Let me know down in the comments below, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces. I'm so awkward, dude. I'm so awkward in front of the camera. It's, oh my gosh, it's so cringe. It's a great system. It's a great system because you just it's a great system because you my brain, dude. Fudge.